Good morning. Hey, so pretty quiet here so far. A little up move. The momentum came to a screeching halt after Wednesday. Expected. Um, a little consolidation there. We'll see if things can get going. It was a big move, obviously. Last week I got this marked off almost 5% in 1 week, a little bit overcooked, I would say. We got these wide range bars on the weekly charts everywhere. After several weeks up, greater than 100% retracement, and momentum typically stalls. And maybe it's got a little more upside left in it. We shall see. But risk is growing that some kind of correction will happen sometime next year for sure. I mean, not too much going to happen in the last couple of weeks here. Um, Maybe a little bit more upside window dressing. We'll see. Um, but we should anticipate that some correction is going to happen. And so far, well, the last one, that was just a little sideways chop for a couple of weeks. And maybe that happens again. But that sideways chop now becomes a pretty important line in the sand next year, not to violate, since that's our new reference point of major support. And there's a little bit of a void based on the push up last week in the wide range bar. And so some kind of pullback, of course, is likely. It's not that far away. Ideally, the ideal scenario from the bullish point of view would be a little consolidation and then a push up into the end of the year, because the further prices can get away from this consolidation, the greater the probability of a pullback not damaging the existing uptrend on the daily time frame. So we'll see how that plays out. I'll get to SPX here pretty quick because it's just too tight to play, in my opinion. Um, you know, Tight bars for Thursday, Friday, and the strikes are easily within distance to be hit. So I think we just let them chop around a little bit and see what happens, and maybe just focus on futures, equity futures. There'll probably be moves that'll happen in intraday, fading one move or the other. We'll see how that plays out. Um, Internals, they are, well, sentiment's been bullish and breadth backed off a bit lower. And so not much going there. Other, no matter where you look at, I think it's obvious that risk for longs is growing, but there's no reversal bars of significance yet. So we'll see how far that goes. Um, Transports look good. Had this correction bar on Wednesday. That was a good sign. Last week I talked about we wanted to see this hold this area from the bullish point of view. It did. We got the correction bar, continued higher. They have room to continue up. So depending on what oil does here, which we'll take a look at, because that looks like the beginnings of a downside shakeout. The retracement that happened last week. Now we got to see what it does at resistance. You can see it's up a bit here. And so maybe that's starting to bottom out, which will begin to raise inflation fears again. And we'll see where that goes in interest rates, which we'll take a look at. But these transports, if they can hold up here, I mean, that'll be a good sign. They got room to get up to the top of the range. So they've been lagging everything else, which is, a little bit of a minus, but they still look like they can go higher. The Russell had the big move. It's up at the top of the trading range, which it's been in, since, the middle, pretty much 2 years now, been in a trading range. And so there's lots of speculation that this is going to do extremely well. you've probably heard a lot of talk about how this has underperformed tremendously, and it should continue to go up, which of course assumes that interest rates are going to stay low, the market is going to stay bullish. And so what we want to see now, which is what we always want to see, because this is systematic in how we look at the charts, is bottom of the range, top of the range. Wide range bar typically ends a move where momentum begins to slow. And can it chop around here? So the ideal scenario would be whatever correction happens, that this doesn't retrace too much, stays in the upper half of the range. We get some correction bars, sideways movement. And then if this could take out the top of the range, it could be a huge move in 2024. So we'll see how that unfolds, and that would be great. Right now, they are, well, not moving too much. Just chopping around here a little bit. Again, things, big move last week. They need to digest that. There are unfilled gaps below that'll get filled, the closest one. So I wonder how much AI technology will assist IWM companies. I have no idea. I guess you'd have to look at individual companies, Robert, and see how they might use that individually. I mean, that's a big part of, what did well this year, especially, of course, semiconductors, which still look great. They had a little bit more of a correction. Just looking at, the weekly time frame as it came up to this resistance, and it chopped its way down here to start the next move up. And that had a correction bar on the weekly time frame. Let's say as it pulled back into the unfilled gap. And now we've got a topping tail bar. It's not a big range expansion topping tail bar. It's just a slowing momentum kind of a bar. But as you can see, multiple bars moving up, wide range bar on the weekly. That low becomes an important reference point. So, the majority of sectors that we could look at, that week's low 2 weeks ago, going to become an important point for next year to try and stay above. We'll see if that happens. But this looks good. I think that's an all-time high. That looks pretty darn good. Let's see here. Well, interest rates, it's going to continue to be a big factor, and they're reaching their destination, same wide range bar on the downside, the inverse relationship. You can see they're kind of popping up here a little bit. So look, basic 101 analysis, the way we look at it is look to the freaking left, say it another time, and where there's congestion or a pivot, prices move between reference points of support and resistance. And as this comes down to support, there's going to be buyers here. And what's the reaction? As it comes down here, does it go sideways and drop again? So look, buyers are going to be down here. That's a given. And we'll see what this does in the coming weeks. How much does it retrace? Does it not retrace? Does it attempt to retrace and get knocked back down again? And so on. So that's what we'll be looking for to see what this does here. If it starts to move up, if the dollar starts to move up and oil starts to move up, well, the market's going to go down. That's just the way it's been. So pretty simple as to what to look for, and that the turn or the attempts to turn are going to be right down here. Crude oil, you can see, broke down here and now retracing up into this resistance. Over here, it's at support. Buyers are down there looking for it to move up a little bit. There's plenty of congestion there. So there's oil stocks that are up pre-market here. They'll probably continue to do better since oil is down here. And with that in mind, the airlines, which have had a pretty nice move, are probably going to have some trouble here. If I have jets in here, but you know what to look at, typical ones. But jets had a nice move up. You can see it's kind of down a little bit, not a big deal. It's at this little congestion area right there. So we'll keep an eye on the airlines and see how they handle this. It's just the beginnings of what could be a turn, but that inverse relationship, if oil continues to move up, airlines will have some trouble and the markets will begin to speculate on inflation. And, as we look at all of that, what's the dollar doing here? And it's down. So that's got room before it gets to some support. There's a bottoming tail bar down there. So kind of neutralizing the oil thing. So, things are just probably not going to move very much. We'll see how it all unfolds. Looking at the futures, you can see just sitting there doing nothing. Wide range bar. The Russell going to have wide range bar sitting there doing nothing. Let's hope we don't get bored to death here before the holiday. But as things start to go sideways, or momentum slows and there's narrow ranges, and they're let's even say today is that way. You can see how it starts to build a base. So as it starts to build a base, the question becomes, does it break out or does it break down? We'll wait ideally for the long side. You see this bar right here? Of course you do. I'm pointing to it. But if we could get a bar, something like that over here, where let's say it breaks down below here today and then closes strong, we got to think it's going to go up. So because here, you've got the void, Wednesday, then the Fed news skyrockets up, nothing below, and it starts to build an area of support as well as an area of resistance. And then it's like, which way is it going to go? And look how well, it's pre-market here, but look how tight it's gotten here. It's overnight trading. But here, it was more erratic after the move, but there were buyers on the dip and sellers pivot high, pivot low. Now it's gotten tight. It's probably going to break one way or another. So if we could get, ideally, it breaks down and then flips back up again, that would support a little bit higher because, look, let's see, markets will probably like to tout a new all-time high in the S&Ps, and it's not that far away, to be able to hit that 480 on SPY or 4,800 on SPX, get a little bit above that, bullish party hats on, and, then a little corrective price action begins to happen. Bitcoin down here a little bit, pulling back into this area. We'll see if buyers want to step up here again. And gold, dollar down, this up a little bit, pretty messy kind of a pattern. That being said, look, if the dollar continues to drop, maybe, there's a trade in here, a short-term trade. If this can begin to hold this area, coming up, the weekly chart is kind of wild and whippy, but again, on a short-term basis, maybe it can move up. And silver was doing better. You can see the pop up here, and it's really not doing much of anything, but this little consolidation, if it can get above here, this has got a void. So, just a thought, set alerts, which is I'm going to do. Just set an alert, see if you can get up above there, and maybe, we'll see if it breaks below. Either way, I have to take away, I guess, for right now, is that things aren't moving very much. And we'll wait to see what unfolds and what's moving. So there are certainly things that are gapping. And take a look at oil stocks. Since crude oil is up here a little bit, this is into resistance, but it's the beginning of what we call a downside shakeout. Now, if it can go sideways here a little bit, that might just start a new counter trend retracement back up there again. So keep an eye on that, and different stocks that are in here. Oil and gas ETF, same downside kind of shakeout pattern. I'll see what it does at resistance. OIH. No. OIH. Omega Healthcare. Remember Omega from like a million years ago? Same pattern. Wide range bars down, stabilize, wide back up again. Now it goes sideways, and we'll see if it turns around. Well, yours, Dan.
Good morning. So yeah, expect a slower volume week here. Christmas next Monday, so we have a full week, Monday off. But yeah, expect light volume. And I'm not expecting a big retracement either. I mean, I think the bulls are going to try to book their gains. Money flow is still positive through the beginning of the year. But sometimes it's like shooting ducks on a pond, finding just beautiful long or shorts just left and right. And this is not one of those times. So we have some long, some shorts, but yeah, we have light inventory, and we don't have a whole lot of trades relative to our norm. So earnings, we're not in earnings season. Let's kind of just go through my list in no order here. Japanese is buying X. I wonder if last Wednesday was some release of that news or speculation. And now it's gapping up huge. And I read it's only valued at 14.5 billion. And you think of these companies, trillion-dollar companies. $1 trillion is 1,000 billion. 1,000. And this thing's only 14.5, and that's after the gap up. That's not a very valuable company. But my initial reaction to that was wait a minute. I thought we're trying to remain independent here in the US of buying semis and raw materials and so forth. Well, how is Biden letting that go through? All right, we'll just go in whatever order here. My alarm on Tesla just went off. Tesla, this Wednesday we're going to be talking about the power of the tail. Not what you think, Sam. Bottoming tails, topping tails. And this is a great example of a breakdown failure tail. Then wide range, top of the range, inside bar. That's a bull 1, 2, 3. We got a breakout on the weekly. Look at a monthly. Look at that buy setup. That's a bullish pattern right there. Tart, even if it goes to $300, that's almost $50. So this looks great. Is it directional and a put spread? All right, Don. That was my initial reaction. APO up alarm. All right, so this is a new beautiful long. I know that, Alex, you took it from Sam's list, but nevertheless, plus the power of the tail. Look at the power of the tail on Thursday. Little breakdown failure traded under 3 bars. So that I'm having a hard time finding compelling new trades. That is a compelling new long with extended markets. Thomas on YouTube. Yeah, when I saw it, my four horsemen here, obviously I got 6 screens, and one of my screens are only horsemen, and some other internals like the yields, VIX, dollar. But it's very obvious this morning. All spiders are holding well, and also diamonds. So I viewed my Dow 30. I'm like, what's holding this up? And it was an oil stock. But UNH is down a lot, $4. I don't know. I guess not much to read into it. But yeah, let's keep an eye on some oils. Yeah, that's a bottoming pattern up at the prior high. Well, prior pre-market high. But yeah, that's an idea, Thomas. Thomas is all over oils here today. Now, we call it the A/B test, whether they're same industry or not. And this one would be a great put spread under Thursday's low, but it's in a downtrend, and you got a wall of resistance here. So your CVX is superior to that one. And you said below. Yeah, that as a new trade, break out of a bottoming pattern. Now, this is also a great example of resistance. And what I mean by that is there's always resistance to the left, unless it's all-time highs for an IPO. So based on this breakdown failure, based on a month-long consolidation, look at all the MAs are flat. So it already went through that one. So then you might say, well, damn, what about this one over here? What about this one over here? And because of this consolidation breakdown failure, this is insignificant now. So my target would be this prior high, high 134s. See that? So that looks great. So I got that in a window of the computer. Roku, power the tail. Whenever I have an MT live, my brain kind of just looks at that topic. Thursday was kind of a bar by bar danger, because this was a big old green bar closed with a topping tail. Didn't mean to short it, but it meant danger. Friday was a closing breakdown. Look at this power downtrend on the 15. So that's a call spread idea. If we can get any juice at the 105, so let me put it in this middle chart here. Yeah, let me write down these oils. Yeah, you all can narrow the list for me. Yeah. And Dino. Hey, Dino was Flintstone's dog. Did you know that, Alex? MPC, I do not like this one at all. Compare this resistance to the VLO we just talked about. A/B test. VLO is superior. MSGS bottom right. This bottoming pattern, potential bottoming pattern, and positive Barron's mentioned. So let's, I'm shocked there's no pre-market volume. MPC monthly. Well, it's consolidating an uptrend, but remember, one of our, well, I'm not trading the monthly, number one. Number two, I'd be trading the daily and seeing if the weekly supports it. And it doesn't. It's a mess. And you're forgetting that multiple time frame alignment is one of our criteria or method. All right, I don't know what happened pre-market here. Well, the last two trading days actually. But whatever got this thing is moving again this morning, upsell. This thing just it's in a death trend, but maybe it's the start of something. LUV, I saw in the news they are paying 140 million to settle that mess when their computers went down. SAP, this is a call spread idea breakdown from a Climo. So that's perfect that it's gapping up. Let me set an alarm 154. The only downside is there's no weeklies. So it would have to be a month out, call spread. NFP, no entry yet, but bottoming pattern. I think GTN, I need a pullback. I think that was yours, Alex. But look at the beautiful retest on the monthly. Still in a downtrend, right? So Don, sometimes you used to, but you ask us, well, how come y'all don't buy reversals on support and you buy breakouts? And I'm like, well, Don, that's just not true. A W bottom is doing exactly that. It's buying a reversal, W pat anticipatory W pattern. We ain't trading a breakout here. We're trading a trend reversal. And so now I need daily, weekly alignment. So that GTN I like, but I need my setup. FMC broke out last week. Look, it's a Climo on the monthly. So this is a buy on a pullback. Snap. Can you believe this thing got upgraded today? Now it's on my core watch list because of the monthly. It's coming out of a multi-year trading range. But these analysts just friggin' crack me up. Thanks, rally from $9 to 17. Oh, I think I'll give it an upgrade now. Buy. It's got friggin' rocks in your head. So why am I gonna watch this? Simple. 30-minute low call spread. This could be the last hurrah for an exhaustion gap on the daily. And the weekly is a Climo too. Baba had favorable barons mentioned, but no pattern. Let's see this. The first thing I think of when I look at this daily chart, here's my momentum move down. It bounced less than a third. Let's watch this to see as a possible W bottom. But I have no idea yet. I got to watch it for a couple days, see what it does. Said G, the solar stocks ripped last week. This one actually got a downgrade to sell, but those are two power bars right there. So let's see how deep it goes into Thursday's bar. But that's a beautiful put spread idea. All right. APTV alarm. All right, so this is a bull 1, 2, 3 after slicing through the gap resistance. So this is on my long watch list. Alarm just went off. APTV. Thomas has one more for us. Alpha Romeo. It would be a day trade at best, Thomas. It's up 5 bars and it's still in a downtrend. But bullish 15-minute chart. All right, this MSGS bottom right, you can see gapped up. This was the Barron's article. Let's see what it does on the pullback. SGML is a short. That's good to go. That is a beautiful new short. As a 1, 2, 3. It was hard finding shorts. That's the best looking one right there. And Alex took it off Sam's list again. We posted it Friday actually. And then I put it in the letter too, in case you missed the Telegram alert. But yeah, that's a beauty setup. I'm not going to be as busy as I usually am because I don't have as many things I'm watching. All right, Qs are ripping here, at least on the 5-minute bar. Amazon, we have a half lot, and so now it's okay to add. Over last week's high, we're long stock. That looks great. Meta. Apple. Google, we have a call spread that's on probation. Stop last week's high. Tesla doing nothing. Yeah, Amazon looks great. Yeah, this is actually pleasant today. I'm not going nuts with all these alarms. Open trades or new ones. This is the calmest Monday morning I've had, I think, in years. But yeah, Tesla looks good. SGML, I just posted. Wow, that had a nice slick. They just dropped the bid on it, Sammy. Look, that's a nice wide 15-minute bar. Wow. Snap. Say, couldn't get much further. Let me check the juice bar right now. Eighteens are 29 cents, which is not bad. That's 2%. Uh, MSGS. Wow, already 5 million shares in Snap. Incredible in 4 minutes. Let's see if there's anything with the 105. 47, not bad. But $4 wide. Yeah, you can't get a good midpoint. $4 wide's only 21 cents. So that's not good. All right, our Google 133.82 is the stop. So he's on probation. All right, Netflix, we actually added a call spread. So, all right, so we got to cancel that.